Cold open, no intro music, straight into it. There is a potato sitting in your pantry right now. It has been there for 3 weeks, maybe 4, and somewhere on its skin, so faint you might not even notice it, a green tint has started to creep in. You might walk past it a dozen times without a second thought. Most people do. That color is not mold. It is not dirt. It is the visible signature of a chemical defense system the potato has been quietly building since the day it left the ground. The compounds are called Solanine and chaconine. They belong to a family known as G-glycoalkaloids, and every single potato you have ever eaten contains some amount of them. This is not contamination, it is biology. Potatoes are part of the nightshade family, the same botanical group as tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers, and like its relatives, the potato evolved to produce toxins that discourage insects, fungi, and animals from eating it before it can reproduce. In a very real sense, that greenish tint is the plant's own alarm system activated. Under normal conditions, the levels in a fresh commercial potato are low enough that eating it poses no real risk. Millions of people eat potatoes every single day without incident, in every form imaginable: mashed, roasted, fried, boiled. The plant's toxin production is a background process, not a threat, as long as conditions stay stable. But the moment a potato experiences stress, that balance shifts, and it shifts faster than most people realize. Light exposure is the biggest trigger. When a potato sits under light, whether that is a grocery store display, a sunny kitchen counter, or even a bright pantry shelf, it begins producing chlorophyll. That is what turns the skin green. Chlorophyll itself is completely harmless. It is the same pigment found in every leafy vegetable you eat. But here is the catch. Chlorophyll production and glycoalkaloid production tend to ramp up together, triggered by the same stress response. So while green skin is not the poison itself, it functions as a visible proxy, a warning flag for a chemical shift happening underneath that you cannot see directly. Physical damage produces a similar response. A bruised or cut potato reacts the way any wounded organism reacts, by escalating its chemical defenses at the site of injury and often throughout the tissue nearby. Sprouting is even more direct and frankly more concerning. The eyes and sprouts of a potato carry some of the highest concentrations of these compounds found anywhere in the plant, because that is the exact tissue the potato is most biologically driven to protect. A heavily sprouted potato is not just old, it is chemically different from the potato it was a month earlier. So what actually happens if someone eats a potato where these levels have climbed too high? At low doses, essentially nothing happens. Your body processes it without any noticeable effect, the same way it handles trace amounts of many naturally occurring plant compounds. But past a certain threshold, symptoms begin to appear, and they tend to escalate quickly once they start. First comes a bitter, almost chemical aftertaste, something distinctly unpleasant compared to a normal potato, then a burning sensation in the throat. From there, nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramping, and diarrhea are the most commonly reported symptoms. In more severe cases, which remain rare but are documented in medical literature, symptoms escalate further to headache, dizziness, confusion, and in extreme instances, neurological effects that require emergency treatment. Here is the part most people get wrong, and it is worth repeating clearly. Cooking does not save you. Solanine and chaconine are heat-stable compounds. Boiling, baking, frying, none of these cooking methods reliably break the toxins down to a safe level once concentration in the potato has gotten high. This directly contradicts a piece of advice that gets repeated constantly in home kitchens, which is to simply cut off the green spot and cook the rest as normal. That advice is only partially true. The compounds are not evenly distributed throughout the potato. They concentrate most heavily just beneath the skin and inside the sprouts and eyes, which means removing those specific areas does eliminate a large portion of the toxin load. But a potato that is deeply green across a wide area, tastes noticeably bitter, or has thick sprouts emerging from multiple eyes, has likely built up elevated levels throughout the flesh itself, not just at the surface. In that case, trimming will not fully solve the problem, no matter how thoroughly you cut. So where does that leave the practical rule for your own kitchen? It is simpler than it sounds. A little green limited to the surface, trim generously around it, and you are almost certainly fine. But a potato that is extensively green, bitter to the taste, or has grown thick, well-developed sprouts from several eyes, that potato belongs in the trash, not the pot. There is no cooking method or trimming technique that reliably rescues it at that stage. None of this is a reason to fear potatoes as a food. They remain one of the most widely eaten, nutrient-dense staples on the planet. This is simply a reason to store them properly in a cool, dark place away from light and heat, and to actually inspect what you are about to eat before it goes into the pan. The plant has been trying to tell you something the entire time through color, texture, and taste. You just have to know how to read the signal. If this saved you from tossing a bad meal or made you check your pantry twice, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss what is really going on with the food in your kitchen. New investigations drop regularly, and you don't want to find out the hard way what else is hiding in plain sight.